but there's a member of my FP&A team who I had to have endless respect for. And it was early in my time at Affirm, and we went and did a meeting with the executive team, and it went really well, but we were reviewing, outlook on the business, and it was late at night, and I was leaving the office at close to 10 p.m. And he was still working on the same model we had just presented that day. And I was so confused. And so I asked him, like, why are you, it's 10 o'clock at night, man, go home. Like, what are you doing working on the thing we just presented? And he shared with me that he didn't understand before the meeting that what we were working on was really important, that we were actually going to use it to make important decisions at the company. And it was a light bulb moment for him and me. And I think it's a really good lesson for finance leaders. What we do is really important. And if you convince yourself that it's routine or basic, if you convince yourself that I'm just producing a report and no one's going to look at it, then you kind of get a B level output. And by reminding yourself that what you do is really important and actually using it to make decisions for the company, you instill a more intense work ethic that's really valuable to the quality of the output. I think there's always quibbles around relative priority of certain measures. And I think that is probably where we've had more conversation in my time here around making sure that we're more balanced in the prioritization across certain measures. But if I look back on the way the business was run 5 years ago when I joined to today, it's largely the same ideas of what we're trying to do. And that is, we care a lot about growing the enterprise. People always talk about the trade-off between growth and profitability. And I think it's just the wrong framing. For us, you have to grow in order to be profitable. This is actually a lesson I learned at KKR is, if you want to create value for the shareholder, doing so with growth is really the only way. You can't just control cost and create value. You've got to create growth, because obviously if you keep your costs relatively flat and you create revenue growth, you can substantially increase profitability versus just marginally increasing it. And so growth has to be important. We measure growth at Affirm with the amount of merchandise volume that we process on the platform, as well as the number of users. And those are really important measures in our business. And because of everything I said above around, we don't have any way to make money in our business without an honest transaction. The unit economics are really important. The way we've talked about unit economics has evolved over time. When we were private, we could talk about it one way. And now that we're public, we have to talk about it a different way. But the underlying ideas have been the same. And fortunately, Max had, I think, done a really good job from day one at the company of protecting the credit outcomes and the unit economics in the business. We were never going to lose money on a unit basis and make it up in volume. And I think that's a thing that a lot of folks can convince themselves that they can just get better over time. And we've always been disciplined on that dimension. And I haven't had to change that really at all. I think the only thing that's been truly new for us is working down the P&L. When I joined the company, we were very comfortable with a negative operating margin in the business. We were invested for long-term growth. We were out to build something very big, and that remains the thing that we're trying to do. But the additional constraint that, candidly, the equity capital markets have placed on everybody is around delivering profitability more quickly. And so while we still have an eye towards scale in 3, 5, and 10 years out, we're operating within a constraint, and that has been net new, but not net new in its focus, not net new in its existence. Right? We didn't have any sort of brilliant insight, and I think it's a real testament to the kind of people we have at Affirm, where we've got really diligent people who really understand the value of strong unit economics and aren't interested in messing with those. And I think it's important discipline that has served us well. There was a point in time when it didn't feel like it was the right answer when we were in a zero rate environment and everybody felt like there's a chase of growth at all costs. But I think it has served us really well that we were disciplined through that time and stayed focused on delivering strong units despite the kind of froth in the market.